Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross, one of President Trump's longest-serving cabinet members, has been under investigation for most of his tenure in office, according to a report issued Thursday by the Inspector General of the Commerce Department. The report both revealed the investigation and published its findings. It concluded that Ross, who has served as Commerce Secretary since Trump's first year in office, violated a federal regulation by failing to avoid the appearance of ethical and legal breaches. The report cleared him on other matters, including whether he lied to federal officials and engaged in insider trading. The probe began in November 2017, after Forbes reported how Ross had been apparently fibbing about his fortune for years. The investigation eventually expanded, following revelations the next year about false ethics filings, conflict-prone meetings and suspiciously timed investments. Thursday's report catalogues a litany of inaccurate statements that Ross submitted to federal officials. He did not list all assets on his financial disclosure report. He claimed to have divested things he did not. He described stock distributions that did not happen. He said he sold assets that he actually shorted. It's not a crime to unintentionally provide false information to officials, only to intentionally do so. The report does not conclude that Ross knowingly lied. The Inspector General also documented several meetings that don't look good at first glance. For instance, Ross was supposed to receive advice from ethics lawyers before dealing with issues involving China or energy. But in conversations about gas exports, the Commerce Secretary ignored that and talked to Chinese officials. Another example, while Ross's wife owned stock in Boeing, he met with the company's CEO and asked about subsidies to its rival Airbus. A third one, the Commerce Secretary met with the CEO of a railcar company even though Ross owned a hidden stake in the business. The report concludes that the China energy talks violated the regulation meant to curb unethical appearances, while determining that Ross's actions didn't have a clear enough effect on his holdings to constitute a violation of the Criminal Conflicts of Interest statute. Merely asking the CEO about Airbus, without taking some action related to the conversation, didn't rise to that level either, according to the report. Nor did the meeting with the railcar CEO, which Ross claimed was purely social. Ignoring the regulatory violations, the Commerce Secretary struck a triumphant tone. "I am pleased that the Inspector General's report puts to rest any notion that I violated the Conflict of Interest statutes," Ross said in a statement sent shortly after this story published. "I have always been and will remain committed to adhering to the highest standard of ethics in the discharge of my duties." The report spends considerable time digging into potential insider trading.